Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamerspro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. Well, as you guys know, the NBA season in terms of training camp is about to commence in the next 6 to 7 days, right? We actually put up a poll not too long ago on our channel where we were basically getting a sense of what people thought in terms of who do they think is the favorite going into the season. We put up 5 options. Let me just state this again. YouTube only allows 5 options. People are like, you forgot about my Knicks, you forgot about OKC. Why is the Phoenix Suns not here? Why is this one you're hating? I'm like, bro, it's only 5 spots. So please, I put the 5 teams that I think most likely have a shot to make it. I put the Celtics, I put the Philadelphia 76ers to represent the East, I put the Dallas Mavericks, I put the Denver Nuggets, and I put the Minnesota Timberwolves. Please, I'm not hating on anybody's team. I don't really have any rooting interest in any of these teams, right? I say that to say that the NBA season is around the corner, right? And with that, it's going to come a lot of storylines. There's going to be a lot more content, which is great for us, and I'm sure for other content creators that may be watching the show. So what happened? Actually, we didn't really see much to produce, and I was going to produce just one show and then produce another show for our channel. Here's what I think. If you guys are not subscribed to that channel, if you're interested in current events, politics, economics, and how it all affects business and life, you make sure you go check that channel out. It's called Charles Tabansi. My name, Charles Tabansi, and the channel's called Here's What I Think. But if you search my name, Charles Tabansi, you'll be able to find it on YouTube there. Anyway, we were just getting ready to shoot, and then I open up my Instagram and I see a post from Yahoo Sports. And I could not believe what the post was about, because what the post was saying, because it was centered on LeBron James and Bronny James. Now, all of you have been following the story. If you've been under a rock, you know that, you may not know, but the Lakers drafted Bronny James as the 55th pick, brought up all kind of conversation around nepotism. Is he qualified and all of that? We all discussed this for at least a month, right? Everybody kind of weighed in. And initially when the news broke, GM Rob Pelinka basically said that the reason the Lakers decided to do it was because they wanted to make history. They wanted to make history in the Laker jersey in terms of having the first father and son play on a team. And in this case, we're talking about LeBron James, one of the greatest players of all time, and then his son. So obviously he's going to bring in a lot of headlines. He's going to sell a lot of merchandise, a lot of money around it. But essentially that was the reason that he laid bare. But then what happened? Some of us were speculating, is Bronny going to go to the G League? Is he going to make the team and all of that? Well, apparently, according to Zach Lowe, who recently did an interview on the Bill Simmons podcast, he has basically revealed that Bronny James will play with LeBron James on opening night for the Lakers. So I actually got the post here, and I want to show it to you guys here. So it says, Yahoo Sports, LeBron James and Bronny James could make history together on opening night. Here's the quote. Bronny is 100% playing in the opening game so they can have a moment together. And at the very bottom, it says, Zach Lowe on Bronny and LeBron James playing together in the Lakers season opener via the Bill Simmons podcast. You saw it there for yourself. That Bronny will be making his debut with LeBron James. What are my thoughts on this? I'm not really surprised here. And I don't think a lot of you out there are surprised as well, right? We understood that this was essentially being done to create this moment. Now, it is important to state that this is also a money play. The Lakers are going to make tens of millions, or if not hundreds of millions of dollars off this play. Some of you are like, how? Ratings and merchandise, paraphernalia sales. People are going to go out there and get a whole bunch of different Bronny jerseys. I don't know what his number is going to be. 9. Okay, his number is going to be 9, right? So there are going to be a lot of jersey sales. Lakers are going to make a lot of money selling those jerseys, right? So from a financial standpoint, the Lakers are going to win. From a historical standpoint, the Lakers are going to win because they're going to be the first NBA organization, franchise, to ever have something like this take place. Now, from a basketball standpoint, in terms of the X's and O's, I think this has zero impact, right? I don't think this changes the chances of the Lakers winning a championship or not at all, right? When was the last time a 55th pick was going to be a deciding factor for whether or not a team was going to be a champion? It's rarely ever happened, right? So we know that this is not a basketball thing where, oh, Bronny's going to come in and change life. No, at the very best, he's going to be a role player for the Lakers, right? And I don't think a role player is what's going to take the Lakers over the top, especially when you're looking at the Western Conference standings, when you're looking at some of the teams at the top. You have the Dallas Mavericks, as I aforementioned. You have the Minnesota Timberwolves. You have the Denver Nuggets, who just beat the Lakers. And then you have other teams like the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then you have the Lakers who come in, but also you have teams like the Memphis Grizzlies who are going to have John Morant return. You have what's happened in Sacramento. DeMar DeRozan just signed with them. There are a lot of things happening in the Western Conference. I don't think that the Lakers are in the top four of those teams. If the Lakers ended up being a top 4 seed, that would be, they would have overachieved. And I'll be shocked if they did. I think even Laker fans will be surprised if the Lakers end up being a top 4 seed. So Bronny going to the team doesn't change life for the team. I think it helps the Lakers from a PR standpoint. I think it also helps LeBron James's legacy for those who care about something like this. And ultimately, I think it makes him happy, right? I think it makes him happy. I also think that this season is going to be an absolute circus for the Lakers, because in the midst of all of this, we cannot forget that the replacement coach, after they fired Darvin Ham after a year and a half, is JJ Redick, who has absolutely zero coaching experience, right? So let's just think about this from a practical standpoint, just looking at how all of this will play out. If Bronny plays in the opening game for the Lakers, I think it would be egregious if he starts the game. That would be insane. If he starts over a starter like D'Angelo Russell, D'Lo, that would be insanity. So I'm going to assume that he's going to come off the bench. Now, he's going to come off the bench. He's going to have his moment. But then we have to ask the next question, which is this just going to be a one-time occurrence? Because if it's going to be just a one-time occurrence, then we know that they're doing this for all the other things that have absolutely nothing to do with basketball. And if the Lakers, if the Lakers are forthcoming about it, and they're like, look, Bronny's not going to change life for us, but we're doing this to make history, have LeBron and his son have his moment, then I think they would get more respect out of people. But I think is when they now try to dress it up and make it seem like, no, this is about basketball, Bronny is going to hit, like that's when you start losing people, because people are already skeptical of the situation to begin with. So if the Lakers are forthcoming about their position, like, look, this is a PR move, it's also a move for us to make history, then fine. I think people will be understanding towards it. Now, if he were to come off the bench, the question is, who is he coming off the bench for? I don't know if Vincent Gable is still on the team. Is he Gable Vincent? I prefer his name. I think it's Vincent Gable. I think that's his name. Is he still on the team? Is he going to be coming off for other guys that are more pro? Who knows? Who actually knows? And whose decision is it going to be? Given the fact that Zach Lowe already knows this and he's an NBA insider, this means that it must have been a decision already made. Personally, I think the organization at the top have already decided. I think Jeannie Buss has made it clear that, look, her number one priority is to ensure that LeBron James is happy. He must make the team a lot of money. So obviously, she wants to do things to pacify him, keep him happy with the team. To me, look, I think it's going to be a spectacle. I think the Lakers season is going to be nothing but it's just going to be a drama-a-thon from the beginning to the very end of it. And I'm going to be here I'm going to be all here for it, man. I cannot wait. So, as you guys know, college football season has commenced, and Deion Sanders and his Colorado Buffalo team have been making a lot of headlines as usual. But this particular season has a lot to do with not just the way his team has been playing, but some of the extracurricular activities, some of the back and forths that Deion Sanders had with various members in the media. So what happened? Yesterday, people kept on sending me this clip of Paul Finebaum and Stephen A. Smith going at it on ESPN First Take over Deion Sanders. We're like, you got to react to this. You got to react to this. You got to react to this. So what happened? I clicked on this clip here. And essentially, it was a panel of Stephen A. Smith, Molly Karen, Paul Finebaum, and Chris Mad Dog Russo. And essentially what they were doing was they were reacting to some comments that Deion Sanders made to the press, where he was basically calling out media members for criticizing college athletes. And he was just basically saying, they're off limits. They're off limits. Since when do we do this? When do we do this? We're not supposed to do this, right? So what we want to do is we actually want to play some of his comments to give this show some content. So we want to play exactly what Deion Sanders had to say here, and then we'll come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to him here.
Once upon a time, you guys never attacked college players. Now they're making more money than y'all. And some of y'all are envious and jealous about that. So you're on the attack. It was hands off a college player because he's an amateur. Remember that, guys? Now it's hands-on. Go at them any kind of way you want. They're making more money than me, and I'm mad about it. I'm upset about it. And when you attack them, these guys are sensitive. They've never been attacked. Most of them are out of high school or 2 years or 3 years in college, but they're still sensitive to slander. They hadn't gone through what I've been going through with y'all for years. They haven't done that. So it is what it is. I know you're going to do your job and what you must do, but your job does not say attack. Like, if they didn't play well, leave it at that. But the personal stuff, leave it to be personal. Because if we start flipping the script on y'all, you wouldn't like it. I could easy. Thank you, Lord, for stopping me there. Whoo, that was almost a good one. That would have went viral.
So you heard what Deion Sanders said there originally, right? Those were the comments that they were reacting to. Now, if you know anything about Paul Finebaum and Deion Sanders, he's not been afraid to go at him, right? And Stephen A. Smith has brought him on ESPN First Take before to voice his opinions on Deion Sanders. We even produced a show about this. Fantastic. So Deion makes those comments. Now, if you know anything about Stephen A. Smith, you know that he has a lot of relationships within the sports media space. He knows a lot of people. He's friendly with a lot of people. So he has a lot of access. And one of these people that he's also friendly with is Deion Sanders himself. So Stephen A. Smith has to walk this kind of tightrope. But Paul Finebaum, on the other hand, I don't think he has some of these reservations that Stephen A. Smith may have, because maybe he's not really into cultivating all of these relationships. Maybe he just feels like, look, even if I know you or I don't know you, I'm going to call it like I see it. And even if you're a high profile coach like Deion Sanders, I'm going to call you out for your nonsense, right? So in the midst of him and Stephen A. Smith kind of giving their opinions, Paul Finebaum then begins to call out Stephen A. Smith. And he's like, why are you making all of these excuses? Why are you doing all of this? Why are you doing all this apologizing for him? And at the very tail end, he basically tells him on live TV that you need to go back and give your the college degree back, because this is not journalism for all of these excuses that you're making for Deion Sanders. And we were just like, whoa, did he just say that? So what we'd like to do now is like to play this heated exchange between these two gentlemen for you guys here now, and then want to come back and continue on with the show. Take a listen to this exchange here.
Deion right there was purely gaslighting, and it really unbecoming of somebody of his stature and status. He knows that's not true. The people that cover college football have been arguing vociferously for years to get more autonomy for players so they can make more money, so they can't be treated the same way that they always have. And for him to say that is just really specious. It's baseless. And quite frankly, it looks to me like he is living in an alternative universe, because that is simply not true. And to use the word slander, I mean, that is so far beyond the pale, because most people, the majority of the media, lifts these players up. They don't tear them down. Quite frankly, the only player on his team that has even come under scrutiny is his son, Shedeur Sanders. And right here on this program 24 hours ago, the entire panel, Stephen A., myself, and Shannon, defended him for not shaking hands with a player who was trash-talking him. So I frankly don't have any earthly idea where he came up with it. I think it's desperation, and it's entirely spineless of him to attack the media, who has not even attacked his players.
Paul, I'm going to respectfully disagree with you. I think it's a bit extreme for you to say that he was gaslighting. I don't think that's true. There are some points that you have made that are damn right accurate, and I will get to that in a second. But when you listen to what Deion said, he said some of y'all. He didn't say everybody. There's always some of us that get a bit personal. There's always some of us. There's bad apples in every industry, as they say. Folks who cross the line, who go beyond the pale, who are a bit excessive, unfair, etc., etc. He didn't say everybody. He said some. I think he's accurate about that. He talked about jealousy.
Stephen A., who are those people? Why doesn't he call them out instead of just broad brushing?
No, I said some of the things that you said were fair, and that's one of the fair points that you're bringing up. I do think that's fair. It's fair if you're going to say that, point them out. You know, you're absolutely right about that. I got that part. I'm just saying he didn't castigate the entire industry. He didn't stigmatize the entire industry. He said some of y'all, like some of us in the media, didn't want them getting paid. Some of us weren't supportive of NIL. Some of us weren't supportive. You had some people in the media that said, hey, man, you're getting a scholarship, you're getting a free education, that should be it, and was ignoring the hypocrisy of the NCAA. You know, we know that this is a reality that has existed.
Let me be an arbiter here. I mean, Doggie's right. They are professionals, and they can be entitled to criticism, but that's not really the issue here. They're not getting criticized. The guy at the Denver Post, Sean Keeler, went after Deion. He never went after a player. And unless Deion Sanders or you, Stephen A. Smith, can come up and tell me what player specifically he has gone after, I'm going to continue on with what I'm saying. I am really shocked by you trying to split the baby here, Stephen. I mean, you know better. Deion Sanders is completely wrong here. There's no justification for him castigating the entire media for nothing, for something that never happened. And if he can state it, go ahead and state it. But don't sound like one of these politicians coming in here and blaming it all on the media. That doesn't work in college football.
Well, first of all,
college football media, if anything, is too subservient to the people that coach like Deion Sanders. Just like you are right now trying to...
Don't give me that nonsense about me being subservient, Paul Finebaum. You stop that right now.
Well, no,
I'm quoting the man.
Here?
Hold on. I'm quoting the man. I didn't know what happened until I heard his quote. And when he said in his quote, some of y'all, I'm like, okay, I don't know who those folks are. I don't know. Excuse me. I think he believes it. And that's what I'm saying. So my point is, if he's coming at it and he said, listen, I'm not reading the Denver Post every day. I'm not watching the reports for every beat writer covering the Colorado Buffaloes, okay? I got other things to do with my time. If I'm quoting the man and the man said some, all right, then I'm assuming, okay, well, there might be a couple of people that might criticize players. So what? If he said all of you, that would be different. That's not what he said. And that's all I'm saying. You can't knock me for quoting the man and accuse me of being subservient because I'm taking him based off of what he actually said and I'm deducing what it means from the words coming out of his mouth. You do that every day.
Yeah, well, I'm the one who said he was gaslighting, and you said I'm not gaslighting, and I don't know what you're basing it on other than giving your friend, Coach Prime, the benefit of the doubt. Well, I'm not giving him the benefit of the doubt anymore.
All right, you choose not to give him the benefit of the doubt. I choose to give him the benefit of the doubt because I'm quoting him. I'm quoting him. Now, you can deduce from his quotes that you don't believe a damn word he's saying, and that's your right.
Well, that's
but
exactly
in the end, if you're covering the Colorado Buffaloes, just like you're the same Paul Finebaum that's come over the airwaves last year and this year. You were talking about how people were rooting for him to fail. So if they were rooting for him to fail, which is something that you conceded last year, right? Chances are that the level of venom, vitriol, criticism that's coming in his direction only intensified, right? So if he decides that there's some people out there that literally want me to fail and are willing to go after my kids in order to do it, can we summarily dismiss the notion that there are people out there that he believes are extra critical of his program and the players playing on this program? We can't do that, Paul. We can't do that.
Listen, first of all, I'm not on trial here. Deion Sanders is the person we're reacting to. And Stephen A., when you go to your alma mater on Friday, you might want to take your degree back because I don't know where I've always had great respect for you as a journalist, and I still do, but you're going to some unbelievable lengths, breaking your back, trying to make a case for Deion Sanders, who just threw that out there without a single specific. And Doggy, you know what I'm talking about here. And he knew that there would be people that would give him the benefit of the doubt. But he does not deserve the benefit of the doubt here.
So you heard what these gentlemen had to say. What are my thoughts on this? I can understand both sides. I can understand Paul Finebaum's frustration because in his mind, he thinks that he's calling out the obvious. He feels like it is quite apparent that Deion Sanders is in the wrong here. And he doesn't understand why so many other people are making excuses for him. Look, there are some people out there that are afraid to be critical of figures like Deion Sanders because of how popular he is. Now, initially when he started this campaign with the Colorado team, I was actually supporting him a lot. I was actually supporting him against some of the attacks that Jason Whitlock and others were levying in his direction. But then as time went on, I actually stopped covering the story you could see some chinks in his armor in terms of the things that he was doing in the media. Right now, what I didn't know was who Deion Sanders was really prior to the situation that he has with Colorado. And then a video came to me yesterday. I was watching. It was like a 20-minute video, but I didn't finish it. It was basically why baseball hated Deion Sanders. And it was basically chronicling his athletic background, his career and all of that, and the issues he had in baseball going at people. I was like, oh, okay, so this is how Deion Sanders used to be before. It wasn't like as if this is just a personality trait he just developed all of a sudden now. And I could see how he could turn some people off. Now, I believe Paul Finebaum was calling him out for singling people out. At the end, if you listen to that original soundbite, he was getting ready to say, I think he was going to start talking about their salaries and all of that. He was saying that they're jealous of him, jealous of these players because of the money that they make. Then Stephen A. Smith pointed out that, look, people in media have been pushing for these guys to get paid all of these years. And now finally through NIL, they've been able to make some money. So that's that part. In the case of Stephen A. Smith, look, Stephen A. Smith has to manage relationships, man. He has to manage relationships. And I think what I saw in that clip was he was willing to take that jab or that shot from Paul Finebaum. He would be willing to take that jab rather than basically going all the way in on Deion Sanders. Because let's just be honest, if Stephen A. Smith went at Deion Sanders the way he would probably go with somebody else that he didn't have a relationship with, chances are that bridge would be burned. Right? And that's why it's very difficult to be honest when you talk about people that you know. Right? It's very difficult. It's a tightrope that you have to walk. In the case of Stephen A. Smith, he's in the position where he needs to also manage these relationships. I remember that fallout between Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley when Charles Barkley said that MJ needs to surround himself with better people and all of that. Well, apparently those were the comments that caused Michael Jordan to cut off his relationship with Charles Barkley. That was really the linchpin. That was the thing. And I remember various people reacting to it. And I think Stephen A. Smith at the time said, and I'm paraphrasing, you should have put a call in to MJ before you made those statements, right? You should have put a call in, meaning you got to kind of be careful how you handle these situations. And I understand it. Now, in our particular case, I give you guys an example. There are some people that we do know, we know them, not like I know them, but I know them a little bit. For instance, whenever I'm going to do a show that's critical of, for example, Gilbert Arenas, usually what I'll do is I'll probably give him a heads up or I'll send him the clip after I've done it so you can see it. Just because I don't want it to look like I'm talking behind his back, right? So I do that, but I still give you my thoughts on it. Paul Finebaum, on the other hand, is like, why are we making all of these excuses for Deion Sanders? And I think it's important that we point this out, that I do believe that there are people out there that hold Paul Finebaum's position. Like, look, he's getting away with a lot that other coaches could not get away with. It's also important to point out that there are people that may be turned off by how Deion Sanders decides to go about his business. Me, not so much, because I'm not that emotionally invested into college football and his program and what they're doing, right? Yet last year it was different, kind of caught us all off guard and everybody was swept up when what was going on in Colorado. But now I'm not that emotionally invested in it. I understand both sides. I understand exactly what Paul Finebaum was saying. But at the same time, I understand that Stephen A. Smith is in a difficult position because, remember, he does know Deion Sanders. He knows him, right? He knows him. So it's a little bit, and he even said it, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, right? And Paul Fein was like, I know he's your friend and all of that. That's the reason why. So I think both points of views are valid. I'm not faulting either of them, but I do realize that when you're dealing with people that you know, you also have to apply some level of emotional intelligence. So my general takeaway from this exchange was, I get where Paul Finebaum is coming from. I get where Stephen A. Smith is coming from.